The tractor shrieked like a wounded beast as it jolted to a brutal halt, nearly hurling me headfirst into the steering wheel. One moment, I was rolling down the north row of my field, humming a tune and sipping tepid coffee from my dinted thermos. The next, I was coughing on dust, swearing at the heavens, and glaring at a tangled mess of orange fiber optic cable snarled around my undercarriage like some cursed pasta. I leapt down, heart pounding, and stared at it. I hadn't buried anything Harino utility flags, no warnings, no signs, just honest dirt until today. My mind churned between rage and bewilderment. Who in the hell had strung fiber optic cables through my field without a word? I tugged at the cable, but it wouldn't give. It was sunk deep, professionally laid. Then I spotted a small plastic tag dangling from it, stamped with a serial number and a corporate logo I didn't recognize. My eyes traced the neon orange line snaking across my field like a serpent on a Miss Iona mission to wreck my morning, my gear, and maybe my sanity. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through county notices, permits, anything that might explain someone digging up my land. Nothing. No alerts, no emails, no letters, no notes pinned to my door. Still steaming, I jogged to my barn office and checked the footage from the security cameras I'd set up last year after someone tried to swipe my chicken coop. There it was, 2 unmarked white trucks rolling in at dawn 3 days ago. Guys in reflective vests spilled out like commandos hyped on energy drinks. No knock, no pause, they just started digging, swift and precise, like they knew they shouldn't be there. I watched, jaw dropped, as they carved a trench across my field, unrolled spools of cable, and buried it without a flicker of guilt. Naturally, I called my friend Tom. Tom's the type who keeps a Sir VY Val kit in his truck and insists the squirrels are spying for the feds, but he's oddly handy sometimes. He showed up with a flashlight, a camp chair, and a bag of jerky, plopping down beside the cable like we were waiting for it to spill secrets. "Bet it's the CIA," he said, munching thoughtfully. "Or the HOA. I laughed until he mentioned the HOA and I froze. Our local homeowners association had gotten pushy lately, meddling in easements, garbage pickup, even the neighborhood Wi-Fi deal. They've been inching closer to my property line like an itch I couldn't scratch. I'm not under their rules. My land's outside their turf. But they've never liked that I'm the one free square they can't boss around. Could it be them?" As if on cue, Susan, the HOA president, rolled up in a sleek black SUV, clipboard in hand, like she was on some official errand. She stepped out with that fake smile that never hid her eyes, the kind that screamed, "I'm about to ruin your day, but let's pretend we're pals." "Oh, good. You found the installation," she chirped, like I'd unwrapped a present. "What installation?" I snapped. "You mean the one that trashed my tractor and trespassed on my land?" She flipped through her papers. "Technically, it's a community project. We voted to expand high-speed internet. It's for the greater good. You voted." I blinked. "Susan, this is my field. I own it. You don't get to vote on my dirt." She waved me off like I was overreacting. "You weren't using it. It's just a field, not a guest room up for grabs because it's empty." Her eyes sharpened. "Let's be reasonable. You're the only route to the main road. We assumed you'd be okay with it. It's not like we built a condo here. I'm about to build a lawsuit here," I shot back. She smirked. "If you want to get legal, you'll see it's all legit." I knew a dodge when I heard one. That night, I stayed up with my cousin Emily, a part-time land use lawyer who treats zoning regs like a game. She dug through the files and grinned like a shark. No permit, no right-of-way, no deal, they went rogue. And it gets juicier. The HOA didn't just run cable through your land. They partnered with an internet provider and leased access rights, like they owned it. They're raking in monthly cash off your soil without a dime to you. I stared at the papers, stunned. They hadn't just trespassed, they'd turned my field into their piggy bank and bet I wouldn't notice. Susan and her crew had crossed a line so dumb and daring I couldn't decide whether to yell or cackle. Instead, I grinned, slow and sharp. If they thought dropping cable was a power play, they were about to see real muscle. They handed me a fiber optic line? Fine. I'd take it and lease it to their fiercest rival. This wasn't war yet, but it was damn close. Next morning, I strode out to the field with fresh coffee, stronger, darker, war-ready. That orange cable under the dirt wasn't a hassle anymore. It was leverage, legal, meaty leverage. Susan had no clue what she'd unleashed. Emily hit the ground running, calling the county utility office by sunrise. They confirmed it. No permits, no approval, no survey. The HOA had skipped every rule, banking on arrogance and apathy. Classic Susan. But here's the kicker. With no easement filed and no payment offered, that line was an illegal utility grab. I could rip it out or cash in on it myself. I sent Susan a polite email, saying I was open to talking, hoping to settle this misunderstanding peacefully here bait. She bid in under an hour, gloating like she'd won me over, even attaching an email chain with the ISP detailing their deal. She called me a reasonable landowner who saw the community's needs. Oh, I saw plenty. While Emily drafted a cease and desist, I got busy in the field. I bought a dozen yellow flags and staked out every inch of their cable path, then hammered in signs. Private property. Unauthorized utility use will be prosecuted. A few had QR codes linking to a public post I'd made with photos, footage, and a rundown of Susan smirking at her installation like it was a charity bake-off, not a property heist. That afternoon, my phone pinged. It was Jake, an old buddy from way back when we raced dirt bikes through the hills. He'd moved off to start a tech firm but was back, building a local fiber outfit called Thunderhub. He'd seen my post and called, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. I've been trying to crack that neighborhood for a year, he said. You just plowed a backdoor with your tractor. I laid it out and asked, if you had legal access through my land, could you wire the whole area with better speeds and cheaper rates? Hell yeah, he said. Deal made. Emily drew up the papers, and Jake's team would run legit lines across my property. I'd lease it to them fair and square, and he'd planned a junction box to serve the whole HOA zone. Ripple the speed, half the price, no HOA cut. Susan started squirming. Her next email was less cocky, asking for a sit-down to discuss mutual benefits. Translation: the board smelled trouble and wanted to smooth it over before the neighbors caught on. Too late. Jake and I mailed bright green flyers to every house. Better internet, no HOA fees, coming soon. Neighbors called, thrilled to ditch the HOA's overpriced junk. Then came the petty retaliation October signs, a pile of dog crap on Jake's trailer. One night, a hooded figure tried digging up our trench but tripped my motion sprinklers. Emily and I howled watching the footage of them face-planting in the mud. That clip blew up online, splitting the neighborhood into Team Susan and Team Us. The real bomb dropped from inside the HOA. A jittery retiree board member, Phil, emailed me anonymously with the dirt, meeting notes, ISP bills, proof they'd pocketed tens of thousands off my land, all hidden from residents. I built a no-frills site, Susan Gate, the fiber fiasco, and dumped everything ox, pics, videos, maps. It went viral overnight. Residents were leave YD, demanding refunds or Susan's head. The next HOA meeting was a circus. Susan's gavel snapped mid-rant, and she stormed out to slow claps. Days later, 2 ISP suits showed up at my barn, nervous but polished. Their gear was on shaky ground literally. I could sue or yank it. I offered a lifeline. Ditch the HOA, lease from me at a premium, or tear it out. They signed fast. Susan kept flailing noise complaints, a wild claim my junction box sapped birds and dogs. The county laughed it off. She rallied a ragged board for one last stand, but when a resident asked where the money went, the room exploded. A vote booted her as president, unanimous. Jake proposed a solar microhub on my land, serving multiple neighborhoods. I got equity, cash, and a front-row seat to Thunderhub's rise. Susan slunk off, her house sold to kids with a skate ramp and a Wi-Fi name. Fiber Fight 1. My field's quiet now, humming with data I own, on dirt I defended. They tried to bury greed in my soil, forgetting I still held the shovel.